brain and spinal cord tumors,
retinoblastoma,
bile duct cancer,
embryonal tumors,
lymphoma,
Kaposi sarcoma,
bladder cancer,
osteosarcoma,
gallbladder cancer, Ewing sarcoma,
neuroblastoma,
esophageal cancer, rhabdomyosarcoma,
Wilms tumor,
AML.
Ava was my high maintenance baby. She was the last of my 3 children and always very energetic, always very busy, always getting into trouble. She was headstrong, spoke full sentences at the age of 2, and shortly after her 2nd birthday, she was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. She began with aches and pains. When I would go to change her diaper at night, she would start to cry when I lifted her legs or moved her, almost as if I was hurting her. She started complaining in the middle of the night that her hair hurt. I put a couple phone calls to her pediatrician. He told me it was growing pains, and having 3 children, it didn't seem right. Growing pains, this was just something that was not ordinary. This is nothing I had dealt with. We took her over, and he thought maybe it was a UTI or some sort of infection, and that's when I requested blood work. I wanted blood work. I wanted to see if she had Lyme disease. We went into the office on Monday morning, and at that time he felt her spleen and it was enlarged. So he ordered the blood work stat and sent us home, and within a few hours I had already entered all of her symptoms into a Google search and leukemia came up. Another mother reached out to me after we almost lost Ava and told me that I needed to give this man a call and that he was a phenomenal doctor and it would be the best decision I could ever make. So I called him, and I was shocked when I spoke with him on the phone. Dr. Brown has been with us almost the entire journey. The only time that he stepped aside as Ava's main attending oncologist was after her bone marrow transplant. When Ava had her 2nd relapse, we were put on a protocol. Dr. Brown was her doctor, her attending, and that treatment failed. Ava hadn't really even fully completed the treatment, and she had already relapsed again for the 3rd time. The 3rd time we were told no for the T-cell trial because there wasn't enough research yet, and they were afraid taking a child like Ava could damage their trial, that she could possibly die in the middle of their trial. He fought for her to get into the trial at CHOP because there was nothing available at Hopkins, and he pushed.
Clinical research is by far the most important factor in what has changed childhood cancer from being uniformly fatal as recently as the 60s to having now an overall cure rate that's approaching or maybe even over 80% now. And that's overall for childhood cancer. In specific subsets of childhood cancer, it's even better than that. Some are not as good as that, but there's progress being made across the board. And what's made that progress possible is in the pediatric cancer community, medical community, we have established a network of institutions that participate in clinical trials that test strategies to improve cure rates. And so without clinical research, without clinical trials that are designed to test and answer a specific question about what treatment is best for an individual child's cancer, we wouldn't be curing the kids that we're curing today.
I think that the opportunity to bring together distinctly unique institutions, each with their own histories, with their own goals, with their own challenges, and to do it in a way that's combined with significant opportunities for funding is relatively unique. Children's Cancer Foundation, by supporting regional research efforts, we're funding at a much higher level than that. And so it's giving opportunities that from a national organization we wouldn't have, and from some other areas where they have just small family-driven philanthropies, Children's Cancer Foundation is doing much more than they can do by supporting investigators across a range of institutions with real significant dollars.
So if I was to sort of look at what involvement with the Children's Cancer Foundation does for Giant and our teams, it really energises our people to actually sort of work every single day, and especially during this sort of season when we are sort of collecting donations, to really get behind the pediatric cancer sort of drive that we have. What I would say to other companies is that you know, I'm amazed, and I've been amazed over the recent years, as how $100,000 can make a massive difference to a researcher who is specialising in one kind of cancer. And I've had the real pleasure of meeting a number of people through the CCF, where if you have the ability as a company to donate and you have the interest in paediatric cancer, you can make a massive difference. So I would really encourage anyone who is thinking about sort of being involved in the community to focus on paediatric cancer, and you'd be amazed at how a small amount of money gets used in incredible ways to make a difference in the lives of young people.
So the Children's Cancer Foundation Next Gen Award has really enabled me to develop this idea of how we are going to create new therapies for pediatric brain tumors. It's helped develop the preclinical models and collect the data that help prove that this works, and led to us proposing new clinical trials that can get into the clinic and help patients' lives. This is a challenging time when you're first starting as a faculty member, because these longer-term grants demand that you have some sort of track record of success. And so the funding from the Children's Cancer Foundation Next Gen Award helps me develop that track record so that I could get the longer-term funding and remain a physician scientist.
I can't overemphasize the importance of the CCF funding in keeping this progress going. And I fear that without continued funding from foundations like CCF, that some of the momentum that we've built around things like immunotherapy and other novel approaches will be lost. I do think that there will come a day, and if it's in 20 years, that would be amazing, when most childhood cancers are going to be 100% curable with minimal side effects. And I think we're starting with ALL, we're starting to see what that might look like. And I can't imagine there's ever been a more exciting time to be doing this job.
I am Jerry Chadwick, President of the Children's Cancer Foundation. CCF brings together many individuals, volunteers, researchers, donors, and together we make a difference. Cures will only be found with more research, and that is made possible due to the generosity of our donors. Big or small, you make a difference. Join us in our commitment to finding a cure for cancer in children.
We all deal as best we can. Ava's been on hospice care twice, which was really tough because you never know what's going to happen, and when you're told your child may only have weeks to months to live, it's hard. So research is imperative. There are hundreds of children and a lot of Ava's friends who are not here today because there wasn't a therapy to save them. And these are brilliant kids who had full lives ahead of them. Day by day, Ava's had 4 isolated CNS relapses. So she just actually returned from Philly. She received the T-cell therapy at Philadelphia, at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and she is currently in remission.